Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Knicks Daily here. The second round is done. I'm going to completely break it down for you guys regarding the Knicks. So we made a couple of trades. We moved all across the board. At one point we traded out of a pick and then we traded back for it. It was like this wild scenario. Talking about what the Knicks did, so they traded 3 future second round picks to the Portland Trailblazers for Portland's number 34 overall pick. We ended up selecting Tyler Kolek out of Marquette, the 2023 Big East Player of the Year. The Knicks added 6 second-round picks Wednesday night by trading one of their 2 first-round picks. Kolek, for you guys that don't know about him, he's one of the most established floor leaders coming out of college and provides depth that we needed behind Jalen Brunson. What do we talk about on the channel entering the draft? We need more size and we need a backup playmaker to Brunson. I'm looking at Miles McBride. He is not a playmaker. He's an amazing catch and shoot shooter, can even shoot off the dribble. You see on the screen right there as he's going to work. But overall, he's not a playmaker, and that's something that we desperately needed behind Brunson, because when he comes out of the game, the Knicks struggle to move the ball and find offense. They have guys that can score and shoot, but they don't have anyone to run the offense, and that's exactly what Kolek brings to this team, and I'm super excited about him. He averaged 7.7 assists last season. He's led the Big East in assists per game for 3 straight seasons. In his senior season, he averaged 15.3 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 1.2 steals to go with those dimes. He's just the perfect fit to this team, a valued passer with excellent footwork and finishing ability. He also improved his 3-point shooting in his last 2 college seasons, averaging 40% and 39%. Again, the Knicks considered using one of their late first rounders on Kolek. They got him anyway in the second round. He's going to be cheaper, and there's going to be a lot less expectations. I get that, okay, number 24, right, is not that much different than 34, but again, it's a second round pick. So you come in, you can develop more. There's not going to be a lot of pressure on you because Knicks fans are going to understand that we already have our rotation set in place. We just need guys to fill it out that are going to be cheap and can give us what they can. So it's just an amazing pick for the organization and for Knicks fans. I cannot wait. But the upside is certainly there. I get that he's, 6'3", 190. Isn't exactly the greatest for defensive purposes. He's also not the most athletic player, but he's going to be able to learn from Coach Tibbs, OG, McCullar, Deuce, and Josh. Knicks have a bunch of good one-on-one and help defenders. It's just the perfect situation because the Knicks don't need their playmaker off the bench to be a good defender. They need you to knock down threes, be able to pass the ball, run the offense, have a high motor where you're going to be flying around defensively, at least trying your best, right? Jalen Brunson's not an elite defender, but he's a defender that works hard. He's always at the top of the league in charges drawn. He just tries defensively, and that's how I feel about Kolek. So I do love this pick. He was initially under-recruited out of high school. He was a key contributor to Marquette's culture. We talk all the time about the Knicks and the culture that they've built. Well, this guy fits it exactly that, because he was a guy who was underlooked his entire career, and when he got to Marquette, was able to change around the program. A+ pick for me. Kolek, he also, in the NC tournament games, upped his production to an average of 18.7 points. So I absolutely love it. I remember against Colorado. I am a Colorado fan, so this pains me. Nothing but pain. Sweet 16, he helped them advance to it. He had 21, 11, and 5 against Colorado. So, yeah, did not want to have to say that, but, I mean, as a Knicks fan, at this point, I'm kind of glad that he's on the roster versus not. At 51, the Knicks didn't select anybody. They traded it to Dallas. There actually has been talks throughout the league right now where the Knicks considered trading Miles McBride for Mikal Bridges solely so that they could save money. They ended up not doing that, thankfully. That would have been very stupid, to say the least, if we traded one of the highest value contracts in basketball to go get Bridges. I get Bridges coming back as a high value contract, and what I mean by that is a guy who is extremely exceeds his value in production at what he's getting paid. Deuce gets, I think he's making like I think he's making $6 million a year, and then Bridges is making $24 million a year. So, I mean, you add in Brunson and Bridges, they're making less than Paul George. So, like, think about that for a second, or at least what Paul George's new contract's going to be. So, it's just things like that are just blow my mind. And talking about the Knicks right now, OG and Randall are their 2 highest paid players, and then you've got Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Mitch, Devo, McBride. I mean, think about that for a second. Dante is making $11.4 million. in 2027. McBride's making 4.7 million. I mean, some of these contracts are even Josh Hart at 18.1 million. Josh Hart's a guy who can rebound, pass, can attack the basket, probably the best coast-to-coast player in the league outside of LeBron and Giannis. I would put him number 3. He's that good. And of course, a little bit of a streaky shooter, but in the playoffs was absolute marksman. Hit time and time again, clutch 3. So we have a lot of free agents, which is why we went out there and we got 2 second-rounders. Both of these guys absolutely are going to be a part of our roster and rotation at the back end of it, of course. But at 56, we go out there and we get a stud out of Kansas. Kevin McCullar was another guy that we were targeting at either, what do we have, 23 or 24. We end up getting him, and I talked a little bit about him earlier, is he's 6'5", 205, very highly active player. 5 years in college, he improved his perimeter scoring and his shooting. He wasn't good the first 4 years. He was under 30% from 3, but then he was able to get it up to 33.3%. 4.5 attempts per game definitely shows me that he's willing to get better as a shooter, because most guys that can't shoot just don't shoot. He also was around 80% from the free throw line. The reason why I like this pick is because the Knicks were targeting him in the first round anyway. He does a lot of things well. Great offensive IQ. He can cut, find the defensive weak spots with ease. Sort of similar to when I talked about the picks that the Knicks were targeting in the first round, right? We talked about how they wanted somebody who, okay, maybe you're not the best shooter, but can you help the offense out? Can you cut? Can you pass? Can you grab offensive rebounds? Because the Knicks should be looking at guys who have length, size, that are willing defenders, and guys that can improve their jumper. And McCullar is listed at 6'7", so I like this a lot. I really do, because we're going to develop these players, and he's another guy that is 23 years old. So we drafted 2 23-year-old rookies, which is kind of wild to me because I'm 25. I mean, 25-year-old, not that far off from 23, so these rookies and the Knicks are getting around my age, but at the same time, these guys are very good at basketball, and I'm not, right? So overall, I just simply can't complain about what the Knicks did in the second round. They go out there and to move around the board, get guys that you wanted anyway in the first round or the second round that are going to make less money. The question moving forward for the Knicks is obviously who fills out our rotation and Isaiah Hartenstein. Is Hartenstein going to take less money to remain the Knicks starting center? Because to this point, we actually can't afford Isaiah. We are doing everything we can to save money. Our pick at 25 ends up going back to Europe or in the G League. That saves us about $3 million. Now we've got these second rounders. We even discussed trading Miles McBride to save some money. So the Knicks clearly are trying to get Isaiah back. And if we do get Isaiah Hartenstein back, I mean, to me, the Knicks have the best roster in the NBA on paper. Now, obviously, on paper doesn't win championships, but the only team to me that can beat Boston is the Knicks, because they can throw defensive wings at you. They have the best player on the floor at all times in Jalen Brunson. Anyone that disagrees, please watch basketball. Jalen Brunson had a better season than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. The dude was a top 5 MVP candidate. I mean, his plus minus was higher than Jaylen Brown, and Brown won, what, 11 more games? So, man, I'm just fired up, man. I'm fired up because I love the Knicks, but I just drank coffee, so I'm a little bit too fired up. But appreciate you guys.